Hey YouTube, Mark here. It's going to be another cooking video today. I really wasn't going to do this because I thought pretty much, it's the simplest thing that you can cook on a grill and everybody should know how to do it. Until I was watching a video of a guy on YouTube talking about how to cook hot dogs. And the guy knew nothing about hot dogs. Basically, he used a hot dog that I made when I was working at Kraft. And he was talking about how crispy the outer skin was. And I'm sitting there thinking, these hot dogs that Kraft makes, they don't have a casing on them. The casing that's put on there when they're actually manufacturing the hot dog is removed at the end of the process. So what you buy in the store has no casing on it. And he was talking about how crispy the casing was. No, I'm sorry, dude, you just burnt the hell out of your hot dog is all you did. So I want to talk to you a little bit about hot dogs and maybe a little bit of history, show you how to cook them. So basically, the history of hot dog is back in the early 1300s. Frankfurt, Germany, that's how we get Frankfurters. Okay, now back then it was a fairly smooth textured Frankfurter, but it was primarily veal, pork, chicken, stuff like that. A couple hundred years later, Vienna, Austria, came out with another sausage, but what they did is they added beef. That's how you get the Vienna beef Frankfurters, or hot dogs, or Wieners. When you start talking about brats, that's totally different now. It's still German, okay? It's still German descent, and it goes back a long time. But the difference between a hot dog and a brat is basically the texture of the item. I've seen a lot of people online in forums and chats and stuff like that saying that the only difference is whether or not it's in a natural casing or no casing, and that's just not true. Okay, let me show you this. This here's a natural case hot dog. Okay, now you see how the texture on it is nice and even. It's a very fine texture. You pull it apart and see, you don't see big glops of fats or meat or anything like that. It's pretty consistent. Now if you look at a brat, you can see the fat and the marbling of the meat. You can probably see some spices in there. That's a brat. It's a heavier, thicker texture. It's bigger round. A hot dog is typically much smaller round than a brat. So those are the main characteristics between a brat and a hot dog. Okay, you got a coarse grind texture on a brat. You have a very fine grind texture on a hot dog. Now, hot dogs can also be in casings and without casings. I have both. The one that I just broke open, that's a natural casing. It's a very, very thin casing, but it is there. Now, one thing that you can do with a casing hot dog is they're all linked to get together. In fact, you can actually see on this one here, the casing broke when they were making it, and some of the hot dog batter came out of the casing itself. You can see just a little bit of the casing holding the hot dogs together. This is a natural casing hot dog. Now, this is what the guy would have been saying had nice crispy skin when he was done cooking with it. These do not. These have no skin whatsoever. These are not linked together. There's nothing there. If I pull it apart, there's no casing there. It's just the outer dried smoked meat of the hot dog. That's all it is. So, for that little history lesson and verbiage and differentials between hot dogs, brats, natural casings, no casings, okay, with all that out of the way, let's just go outside and cook, okay?
Okay, I'm just getting my grills prepared. This is
is just some old paper that we got laying around the house. I put a little bit of oil on there so it acts more like a wick from a candle, where it takes the oil and it just kind of slowly burns instead of just combusting all at once. So that's what the oil on the paper is for. I got about 3/4 of a chimney of charcoal, and that kind of depends on how much you're going to do. If you're just doing like one little package of hot dogs, you don't need this much because they don't take a whole lot to cook them through. In fact, most hot dogs in the US are already pre-cooked. You're just heating them through is all you got to do. So, paper in my chimney. Typically I would use wooden matches, but I'm all out of wooden matches, so I got to use these little cardboard ones. Let's see how well they do. Alright, we'll give that probably about a good 5-10 minutes for it to actually really get going. I'll dump all the coals, all the lit charcoal out all over. I'm going to do a direct heat method, so I want my whole bottom of my grill covered. So I'm doing a lot of brats and dogs today. So I gave you a little bit of a history lesson on where hot dogs come from, but I never really explained how the term a hot dog came about. And actually it didn't happen until the 1800s, back in the craze of baseball first started, and everybody wanted to go get a hot dog at the ballpark. Well, the term hot dog actually it was based on a rumor that American hot dog and sausage companies were actually using dog meat in their recipes. There's nothing to substantiate that rumor, but I'm not going to say it wasn't true either. So that's how we actually got hot dog, is that this rumor of sausage companies using dog meat in their Frankfurters, Wieners, Vienna sausages, whatever you want to call them. That's how they all got started with hot dogs. And in fact, the Germans, it would actually be a common practice for them to use dogs in their sausages. So there is some truth to it. I don't know if it's true here in the States, but in Germany, it wasn't unheard of. So now you know how we get hot dog. Some people online, when I was doing some research, they were saying that all the differences were in the spices and stuff like that. It's just not true. You can get the same spices in a hot dog that you can in a brat. It's just that coarseness of the grind. That's the only difference. Okay, so I told you about how we got Frankfurters, Frankfurt, Germany. Vienna hot dogs from the Vienna area of Austria. But how did we get Wiener? Well, basically Wiener just translates in German to sausage. That's basically all it is. So whenever you're saying Wiener or Wiener, you're just saying small sausage is all you're saying. Okay, it looks like my coals, as you can see the flames coming up through there, they're probably about 90% ready. So I'm going to carefully dump them out. Make sure I get all the coal out of there. Store that away. Now what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to kind of spread it out pretty evenly. I want to make sure that all the stuff is lit. That should be pretty good. That's all I'm going to really need, because that's nice and hot. I'm going to keep my, I can actually raise and lower this as I need it, but I'm going to keep it all the way down. That is very warm. Now I just got to put my grates on. Now I'm just going to leave it sitting like this so the grates get nice and hot. Oh, and as you can see, I don't really clean my grill all that much. It's pretty dirty. But hey, it's my grill and I'll do what I want. Actually, I don't clean it because I believe that all the juices and the seasonings from previous cooks stay on the grill, and that way it kind of carries over to the next cook, and all those flavors kind of start melding together. And if it gets too dirty, I start a bigger fire and I burn all that stuff off. So it's real nice and easy. You want a hot dog? Yes, you do. You want the hot dog, don't you? Oh, yeah. That's my girl. Get your treat. Eat your treat, Brie. She typically doesn't eat a treat unless I tell her to. Okay, my coals are nice and ready. They're glowing pretty well underneath. You get a lot of good heat. Getting ready to put on some food. Now, before, like I told you, brats are typically raw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on first. Typically put them in a high heat area. And I do that just to crisp up the skin, and once the cooking process kind of starts slowing down a little bit, I'll actually pull them and set them aside towards more of an indirect cooking, just to kind of finish it off. I don't want to burn them, but so that's why I got to take them off this direct heat. But for now, I'm going to put them over the direct heat and really get a nice crispy skin on them. Alright, it's only been a couple of minutes. As you can see, the top side is still raw. The bottom side, I'm starting to get a little crusty right there, and that's what I want. But I want it on both sides, and right now most of the heat is going down the middle. So I'm going to just rotate everything. Let those go for just a couple more minutes, and then I'll actually flip them. Okay, just a couple more minutes have passed now, and these are really looking good. Time to flip them around. Alright, my two back ones back here, this one and this one, are not as done as some of the others, so let's move things around a little bit. And now this is also going to be the time where I'm going to add the hot dogs. Again, hot dogs are pre-cooked for the most part, so I just need to heat them up. So I'll let that go for just another couple minutes, and then I'll come back. I'll spin the brats and check the hot dogs, and probably have to roll those when I do that. Okay, so I've told you the how we got the names for Frankfurters, Wieners, Vienna, hot dog. But what about Brat? How did we get that? Well, Brat is basically bratwurst. I mean, that's how we get it. It's basically translates to sausage. Simple. I quickly did the flip turn and also rotated the hot dogs a little bit. They're looking great. Can't wait to eat. So I think my brats are just about done. I'm going to take them off the heat because I don't want to burn them. I'm going to put the hot dogs more on the direct heat now and really get them going. Yeah, looking good. A couple of brats don't have the color I want, I'm just going to leave them over the heat. Some of the natural casing hot dogs are starting to crack open, which is fine. Hot dogs do move fast, so you really got to keep an eye on it. Alright, I think that's enough fussing around. I think the hot dogs are heated through. I got a little bit of char going on the natural casing ones. That's great. And I really like the way the brats look. I think everything's done. Let's go eat. Looks perfectly cooked. A little bit of crispiness on the skin. Very hot, very nice, not burnt, but nice and warm. So now how do you eat it? Well, hot dogs, I usually do mustard and onion. A lot of people put ketchup on it. Brats, primarily just mustard and onion. You can put sauerkraut on it, you can put pickles on them, you can do whatever you want to these things. They're pretty much indestructible. So I hope you learned something for this video. It's one of the easiest things to cook, and it's quite amazing how many people get it wrong. So I hope you get out there, grill up some hot dogs, and enjoy life. I'll see you on the road. Okay, at the last moment, I decided I'm going to add just this little bit. This is the Oscar Mayer hot dog, okay? Did you hear anything? Not much, right? Did you hear that? That's casing. That's how you know you have a natural casing hot dog. That's how you know it's good quality, and that's how you know if someone's, well, not knowing what the hell they're talking about. Because that's how this whole video started. I was watching someone talk about hot dogs, and I knew better. Bye.